Good evening. My name is Peter Carzis. I'm a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences studying linguistics and classical studies. And tonight I'll be discussing some research that I worked on as part of coursework at the University of Pennsylvania on the Etruscan language and its relationship with other ancient Mediterranean languages. While it's very difficult to pinpoint my most important research discovery at Penn, one paper that I really enjoyed writing is an article I wrote titled Etruscan Cutum as the Source Word of Faliscan Cutum, proposing an Etruscan etymology within the context of Greek contact in Etruria and the Ager Faliscus. This paper investigates the Faliscan word cutum, referring to a type of ceramic vessel, and proposes that this word is loaned from Etruscan cutum. This paper was written as the term paper for Linguistics 616, Comparative Indo-European Grammar 2, taught by Donald Ringe. It was the second semester of a two-semester graduate course on the grammar of Indo-European languages and historical texts in Indo-European languages. This paper is also, in a different respect, the result of research I've been working on for the past year and a half on the relationship between Etruscan and Indo-European languages with Jean McIntosh Turfo in the Classics department. This paper was submitted as coursework in May of 2018 and published in Persephone, the Harvard Undergraduate Classics Journal, this semester in 2019. Well, let's get on to the findings. So, in the first place, it will likely be salutary to briefly introduce the sociolinguistic milieu with which this paper is concerned. Essentially, this research is interested in the relationship between three languages: Greek, Etruscan, and Faliscan. Etruscan is a language attested throughout the first millennium BC in an area of modern-day central Italy called Etruria. It was eventually supplanted by Latin and likely died around the birth of Christ. It is unrelated to all living languages and is only related to two other poorly attested ancient Mediterranean languages, Rhaetic and Lemnian. Faliscan, conversely, is an Indo-European Italic language very closely related to Latin, such that it is occasionally referred to as a dialect thereof. It was spoken in and around the city of Filaria, an Italic settlement with strong ties to Etruscan civilization, attested in the archaeological record. This paper proceeds largely from Gabriel C.L.M. Bockham's description of the Faliscan language in his 2009 book, The Latin Dialect of the Ager Faliscus, henceforth Bockham 2009. As Faliscan is an exceptionally poorly attested language, even small inscriptions and philological questions are treated with a fair amount of detail in Bockham's analysis. The word in question is cutum, a word describing the ceramic vessel on which it is written, which is spelled Q-U-T-O and then a letter that is not legible. In scholarship on Faliscan, this final grapheme is represented with an asterisk. Since the word is not attested anywhere else in the Faliscan corpus, it is unclear what the original grapheme is and what phoneme that grapheme represents. This confusion about the proper form of the word is augmented by the form of the inscription, which, as per Bockham 2009, reads as follows: Eko kutum o tenosio titias duenum duenasalve toduoltene. This is it's a fairly common formula of ownership attested widely in the corpus of Etruscan inscriptions as well as that of Faliscan inscriptions, and simply states to whom the vase was given and to whom the vase belongs. This vase was inscribed in scriptio continua, which is to say that spaces between words are not indicated in the inscription, and this of course raises even more philological questions about the interpretation of this word. Nevertheless, while it is clear that kutum is an indirect loaning of Greek koton, it is also apparent that it has been loaned indirectly, as the change in the word's first syllable is not otherwise explainable. In discussing proposed solutions to this linguistic problem, Bockham presents two solutions. The first theory presented contends that Latin gottor is a possible source word for Faliscan kutum, on the basis that Faliscan word final M could be consistent with Latin word final R, as per Bockham et al. Conversely, another theory proposes that Etruscan kutum is the possible source word. Nevertheless, both of these propositions also carry philological weaknesses. While Latin gottor is too phonologically different from Faliscan kutum to hold much water, Etruscan kutum would not produce a neuter form that would agree with the Faliscan accusative duenum, which modifies the word in this inscription. Each of these concerns, however, are dealt with by a third possible source word, Etruscan cutum, notably with an M on the end instead of an N. This variant of Kutun, loaned into Faliscan with the word final M, would produce a neuter accusative form ending in M, as should be expected from the morphosyntactic context of this inscription, while avoiding the obvious phonological challenges of Latin cultur. To state this historical series of loans most fully, this is my proposition. Greek koton is loaned into Etruscan as kutun. The second stop is deaspirated, as aspiration was not distinguished in Etruscan, and the omegas were heightened and fronted to use, since it is the closest analog in Etruscan's vocalic inventory. That is to say, there are no O's in Etruscan, so they were changed to use, which are, I suppose, close enough. Subsequently, kutun was combined with the diminutive suffix musa, forming kutumusa, meaning small vase. The word final N from kutun in this combined word is elided by its position immediately before the M. This appears to be the source of kutum, a back formation of kutumusa, which is then loaned into Faliscan as kutum. Moreover, this hypothesis is consistent with the socio-historical record of Etrusco-Faliscan relations. Archaeological evidence suggests that Greek ceramic work entered Falaria and its environs through southern Etruscan ports like Pyrgi, and epigraphic evidence suggests a large exogamous Etruscan population living in and around Falaria as well. This is to suggest the loaning of Greek koton through Etruscan kutum is consistent with the other historical evidence available. Finally, I suppose I would like to briefly suggest why this is important. At a glance, this is the story of a few small dead words traded between a few small dead languages at a couple small dead civilizations. While this may be true, a fuller understanding of lexical acculturation between Etruscans and Faliscans allows us to more fully understand the relationships between these peoples, their individual histories, and the cultural topography of the ancient Mediterranean. It is my hope that this research can represent another small drop in the bucket of historical endeavors that constitutes the field of Etruscology. Well, I suppose that's what I have to say about this. It's research that I really enjoyed, and I'm always happy to talk about Etruscans, so, well, I suppose that's all. Thank you very much for listening, and have a nice day.